The conversation turned to money again, the way it always seemed to lately. My son said, "You're going to die poor, Dad." Then Laura laughed. "After you're gone, we'll manage just fine on our own." Carol's voice, when it came, was the coldest of all. "I am so tired of making excuses for you in front of people." A whole table laughed. I sat there, in the chair I'd sat in for 30 years, at a table I'd paid for with 30 years of my own 2 hands, and I said nothing. I got up, walked to my room, closed the door and stared at the wall for a long time. That's the night I decided something had to change. But before I tell you what happened next, tell me, what time is it, and where are you watching from? My name is Frank Bennett. For 30 years I ran a small hardware store on Main Street in Millbrook, Ohio. Neighbors used to call me Frank, the man with a fix for everything. Every bill in that house, my son's schooling, my daughter Laura's wedding, all of it came out of that shop, dollar by dollar. I never once held my hand out to anybody, and I was proud of that. Then my back gave out, and my knees weren't far behind, and I had to close the store for good. My wife Carol, my son Kevin, my daughter Laura, they used to call me Dad like it meant something. Once the paychecks stopped coming, the same mouths found other words instead. "You're just not much use anymore." I stayed quiet. What was there to say? My heart broke a little every time, but my mouth never did. One weekend, a friend of Kevin's got married. Everyone got dressed up and left the house together. Nobody so much as asked if I was coming. I stood in the doorway and watched them go. That night, I understood something. In that house, I had become an old fixture nobody thought about until they needed it. Even dinner stopped being a family thing. Everyone ate first. I ate alone afterward, off a cold plate with nobody to talk to. It started to feel like I was renting a room in my own house. I spent a lot of nights wondering where all that distance had come from. These were the same kids who used to ride on my shoulders, wave their school projects in my face, dig candy out of my coat pockets. Now they were grown, and they looked at me like an old, unnecessary thing. Age doesn't only change your body, it changes the color of your relationships too. I went looking for work more than once. Every place gave me the same answer: "You're a little too old for this, we need someone younger." I'd come home, worn out, and nobody would even ask how it went. Just more comments, waiting for me at the door. Then came that dinner. You already know how the night ended, me alone in my room, staring at a wall, making up my mind. The next morning I left the house without telling anyone. On the corner near our street was a little coffee shop that belonged to an old friend of mine, Ray. Ray was the one person who still talked to me like I mattered. No conditions attached. He'd slide a cup across the counter and just say, "Frank, times change, hang in there." I'd smile and drink my coffee. After that morning I started stopping by his place most days. For a little while I could breathe. One day in the window of the shop next to Ray's, I noticed a lottery poster. Grand prize, $1 million. I looked at it and almost laughed at myself. Things like that didn't happen to men like me. Still, with the few dollars I had left in my pocket, I bought a $5 ticket. No hope behind it, no dream, just a small scrap of paper that was mine, and only mine. I got home, tucked it into an old notebook, and forgot about it completely. Weeks went by. Same silence at home, same comments, same cold dinner eaten alone. Then one day, cleaning out a closet, I found that old notebook again. The ticket slipped out and fell to the floor. I picked it up, looked at the numbers, and figured I'd walk it over to Ray's just to check the results, something to do with my morning. Ray pulled up the winning numbers on his phone, checked them against my ticket, and stopped. He read them again, slower this time, and his voice started to shake. "Frank, this number, this is the jackpot." My hands were shaking too. I checked it myself 3 separate times, same result every time, $1 million. I didn't go home. I went straight to a lawyer Ray knew, who walked me through the whole process and got the paperwork moving. I decided I wasn't going to tell my family a single word. I opened a new bank account, rented a small place on the other side of town, and quietly moved my things over a little at a time. My family was still too busy fighting each other to even notice, let alone ask where I was going. That first night in the new place, I slept better than I had in years. No comments, no laughing, no one avoiding my eyes across the table, just quiet. And that quiet was the sweetest thing I'd felt in a long, long time. A few days later, my name and photo turned up in the local paper. Local retiree wins $1 million lottery jackpot. It made the evening news, too. My old family was eating breakfast when my face showed up on the screen. Kevin's fork stopped halfway to his mouth. Laura's jaw dropped. Carol set her coffee cup down without a word. Nobody could speak. The phone started ringing right after that and didn't stop for days. Calls from Kevin, texts from Laura, voicemails from Carol, her voice cracking as she cried into the phone. All of them said some version of the same thing. "Please come home. We were wrong about you." I didn't answer, not once. The same words that had wounded me for years couldn't reach me anymore. One night, I opened my phone, looked at the 3 names still saved there, Kevin, Laura, Carol, and deleted them one at a time. No anger, no tears. Just a strange, quiet peace, like something heavy had finally slid off my shoulders. I never went looking for revenge. I never wished harm on anyone. I just started living. Mornings with Ray, afternoons with a book, evenings walking in the park. I gave part of what I'd won to a local non-profit that looks after elderly people who have nobody left to care for them, because I knew exactly what that kind of loneliness felt like. Some weeks later, a local reporter tracked down my new address and asked for an interview. Near the end, she asked, "With all this money, what's the first thing you want for yourself?" I thought about it for a moment, then said quietly, "Just a little peace, a life without the noise." That line ran as the headline the next morning. My old family read it too. Maybe that's when it finally landed for them, that I had never been chasing money. I'd only ever wanted a little respect. Looking back on it now, I understand that the $1 million was never really what I won. What I actually won was the peace that came from putting real distance between myself and the people who wrote me off the moment I stopped being useful to them. The same people who once thought I was too weak to matter go quiet now at the sound of my name. And I learned something along the way. Respect is never something you ask for. Time hands it to you on its own, eventually. Maybe that's the biggest lesson in all of this. Learn to live quietly. A house doesn't stop being yours the day somebody else's name goes on the mailbox. It stops being yours the day you start knocking before you walk into rooms you used to walk into without thinking twice.